I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for the gift of your son, Lord. We think about this time of year and celebrate that birth and just ask, Lord, that the things that we do today would be acceptable in your eyes. Ask that the guidance that you would give us, help us to just keep in mind the best interests of our residents, our community members, Lord, and just ask that you be with us throughout this meeting. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. All right. What? All right, we do have Commissioner Coons is ill today, so he's not going to be here. So we'll elect him to everything we can elect him to. And
All right, he's in trouble now. If I Jenna didn't stand, it was for me and you.
Well, that's not the cater. This is that thing that Cody's put on for all night.
Well, Tony ran a copy.
Good deal.
What do you need? You all got the email with the claims, right?
Did,
All right, did you have a chance to look at the minutes from December 12th?
I did. I would make a motion to approve those.
I'll second that.
I think there was that one change that you noted that I did fix. So
Right, good deal. Thank you.
here we go. That's a multi-pager. Like all the annual.
Oh, yeah. All right, Tony, what do you have for us today?
Well, I will start with payroll claims. And those are in the amount of $369,581.40. Might be the last one before they go up after the first of the year.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
$369,581.40.
any questions on payroll claims?
Nope, make a motion to approve the 369, 581, 40 payroll claims.
And I'll second that.
Eric, don't ask any time today if it's a 3-0 vote.
Oh, yeah. Easy to count. I agree with you.
Okay, payroll time card approval that you all should have received. Department heads and so forth, that you all need to see.
Right.
Okay, did you have a chance to look at
I
those?
did. Make a motion to approve.
All right, I'll second that.
Actually, that wasn't that bad a suggestion by Steve, to be honest. Okay. Eastern Alliance Workers' Comp claims. Those are in the amount of $2,136.15. Of course, that's personnel, private things that you guys can look at, but we can't bring that up with this.
It's good to see that as low as what it is.
Yeah.
All right, take a motion to approve the workman's comp claims as presented.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
And I had the accounts payable claims that you all should receive via email. Those are in the amount of $733,170.25. There were, I think one of those is economic development payment. You had ARPA, IT payment, and so forth. So that kind of added up. But that's $733,170.25.
All right, did you have a chance to look at those?
I did review those. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I looked at them and I would second that motion.
Here's that. And the only other thing that I have, Jeremy Gilbert could not be here. So he asked me, and Mark, we had asked, I think you and Clayton on this, maybe you can get some direction, but he was given approval for some equipment and so forth to be paid out of ARPA.
Yep.
So he sought quotes on a plow to go on the Kubota that he has, that they kind of used the same plow for years. So, but he went out and got 2 quotes, not knowing if, because it was under ARPA, if he still had to come before you guys get it approved or not. So Mark can probably answer that question, but I told him it's not going to hurt anything to have you guys see the quotes and, you know.
So we're not necessarily approving the quotes, we're just.
Well, you would approve purchasing one of these, which he had already been approved out of ARPA. Mark, you want to?
You're just approving the purchase.
Oh, gotcha. I'll let,
Money's been appropriated.
money's been appropriated, but because it's over the $2,500 threshold, we brought it before you guys to approve
Yep.
procurement.
Did he have a recommendation on which one to approve?
He didn't really care, but he was going with the lesser one.
Yeah, W.A. Jones, 4,999.17. They had another quote that was higher than that,
From your Power Sports, and that was for how much?
52.50.
Do you guys want to look at these quotes and see if the specs are different or
It's
not?
the,
I mean, they look similar to me.
yeah, I mean, all things equal, and approve the lowest quote.
Make a motion, we approve the lowest bid there for the purchase of the
Okay.
snowplow for the Kubota.
W.A. Jones,
49.99.
49.99.17. Left my reading glasses at home this morning.
Yeah, because I think he would almost have to be here if he wanted to recommend a higher amount. He'd have to be here to explain why.
There's
I
no
think.
reason.
So,
All right,
it's okay, very good.
for W.A. Jones.
That is all that I have.
All right, county engineer, Nate, did you have anything for us?
Just a quick update on a few items. Want to make you aware about regarding the federal aid application we have on Bridge 27. Work has started on preparation of a presentation to NDOT once we're notified of the schedule. So I'm kind of anticipating we'll hear about it. Most likely it will be online or virtual. So we'll just got to get a PowerPoint.
And once again, Bridge 27
Is Pickle Road, just southeast of Monmouth area.
gotcha.
Okay. Small structures and culverts, sent location information out. I talked about it at one of our previous meetings. I'd sent that off to the surveyor's office, and Mike is working on getting kind of watershed areas over to me. Once I have that, I'll finalize a schedule for what work I think we can do here in 2024. It'll probably be about a 2 or 3 year period. I'm anticipating just based on sizes I'm seeing right now. But I want to confirm them before I start requesting quotes for structures. I also met with Shane Keller from Jameson Spawn Engineering. He represents the firm now. I want to get copies of the inspection information that was done back in 2017, 2018. I've got the paper book, the PDF, so I'd like to get the raw data. I think there's opportunities for us to put that information into county GIS, and then we can kind of own our own data from that standpoint. It'll make the inspections a little easier to do, and actually be able to provide that to you and the council members if they're interested in what conditions we have. So kind of the next step, I think we've got the infrastructure here to do it. It's just kind of getting some of the starting info. I don't want to start at ground zero with a brand new system. I'd like to get the old one, but I got to go from them because we've already long since paid them off. So others, just kind of updates on consultant contracts. I know previously I told you I was pausing a couple of design contracts. I met with USI yesterday. Bridge 5 will continue design with our Bridge 5 project with the anticipated delivery date of the plans in late 24. I'm considering this as a possible 2025 community crossings project application.
And 25 is,
Hmm?
Where's,
Oh, Bridge 5.
or 5, I'm sorry.
I did not write all of my locations down, all these bridges. I'm sorry.
east, 1,000 north.
Okay. Not that I'll remember all that, but it's good to have.
It's all still a little bit fresh. I don't have all my numbers down to the locations anymore, unfortunately. But we're looking at that. They also have in their contract about $65,000 not to exceed for inspection and some bidding services. I did inform them yesterday that those really won't be necessary, so we won't be executing that part of their contract. But work will continue on Bridge 5, but at a slower pace, because really there's no point in finishing the plans up next month, because we're not going to be able to utilize that until really the end of the year going into 2025. Bridge 58, design will proceed on that project with a delivery date anticipated in late January of next year. My hope is that I think I can still fit that rehab project into the current budget and the Cume Bridge budget for next year. So if I can get that one in and get some good numbers on Bridge 180, then this will be an optimal project to try to get in 24. Bridge 142, we'll just go ahead and leave that one suspended indefinitely as we review the bridge asset management plan. I've got a meeting with Being Longest and Neff tomorrow to kind of review some of the schedule there. I don't have a good place to fit that. There's also some concerns regarding floodplain in the area, so there might be some more significant scope revisions on that. I can go through that with you individually if you're curious as to what options we have out there. I want to give you a couple options on that project before we spend too much more money on that one.
Bringing that up, just a quick question.
Yep.
I know Mark Wynn is our floodplain manager.
Oh, perfect.
Does that come into your scope at all as far as floodplain management, as far as like when DNR updates their maps and all that stuff?
No, I would work with Mark. He would still be the administrator manager for it, because what you're trying to do is limit new construction that would open up liability. So anything that cause issues with flood insurance. Whenever we're doing a bridge project and we may have impact on flood elevations in downstream or upstream from a project, we'd have to notify him. Anytime we're doing work permit-wise, work in the floodplain, I need to get a process for his work so that we can essentially request a permit for work in the floodway.
So like if there would be a dispute, you would help resolve that as far as elevation certificates and structures? And
He would be able to sign off on the structures if we needed to do anything like that. So I probably should get some information in the process for him. It was pretty loose for us over at Wells County on that, but it would not be a bad idea to make sure that he's aware of what our goal is. Certainly the intent with any road crossing for a stream is that you want to have negligible impact. The road is not intended to be a dam to hold water back. And that's where he's going to be more concerned about. So as long as I'm showing open areas and open waterways, that's where he's going to be most satisfied with it. Fill inside the floodplain, we're going to have to go to the DNR or the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers once we start getting into the water edge. And then their permits wouldn't necessarily supersede. We would still need to coordinate with him.
do you ever coordinate with Maumee River Basin Commission too, or?
I don't think we've ever needed to on our projects. If you have a conservancy district where they would have jurisdiction over the surveyor's office, then we would go directly to them where we're working in the drainage area. So usually the floodplain administrator, when we're working in floodplains, it's delineated. And anytime we're working on county regulated drains, then we would end up notifying the drainage board and the surveyor's office to get essentially, so you're not paying yourself. Usually any permit fees are typically waived, but I would notify the surveyor of projects that are proposed so he can put that on the drainage board agenda. Okay. So at least you're talking to the same board, but at least offices are cooperating on that. No, that's a good question. Bridge 155, work will kind of remain on hold on that one right now. USI is supposed to contact me in August 24 to decide if and how we want to restart that project. So I wanted to stop them early as I could and then kind of go through the actual project scope, what fees they've got completed. So they are going to be sending the invoicing for work to date on everything. And then the ones that are going to be on hold will stay on hold. So They're gonna update their invoicing here. We'll get the next one later this month.
That just really makes sense. I'm glad we're doing it as far as having them on hold and
Um,
especially on projects that aren't gonna move ahead for a long time.
Well, and I know I'd sent you each email with kind of my proposed schedule. Certainly that's fluid. It's gonna change as different estimates come up, if there's grant opportunities. The nice part about having kind of a 5-year plan, which you're supposed to have, or I'm supposed to have, is that as funding opportunities happen, you've got stuff ready to go. You've identified the project needs. You can direct projects specifically to funding sources. And you just keep a small backlog. You don't need a 10-year backlog of completed work because you've essentially overinvested into the future. So you want to have enough work that you're ready to go and you know how you're going to do it. So that's all right. Bridge 93 and the bridge asset management plan would be longest enough. Again, I have one meeting scheduled for January 4th to review the bridge, but I just got confirmation this morning about going through the asset management plan with them tomorrow. So.
I like that schedule. I mean, that kind of lays it out for the next few
Oh,
years.
yep, so we've got a little bit of work kind of trickling in, and then I can continue on the small structures. I gotta kind of dip 2 different areas out of the same pocket with Cume Bridge, so I need to make sure I don't commit too much to small structures, and then I can't proceed with a big project. So we gotta get a little farther on those, and certainly the federal aid award, or I'm hoping for, is kind of the big fish for us. So I want to get that one first, and then everything else we'll utilize what's there. And then I have sent an email out to NDOT to request that they substitute me as the ERC on the countywide bridge inspection. That's your only current federally funded project, so that's the only one that's.
So that's nothing that we have to act on. That's
I
just for
don't, I don't think so.
to designate.
I've got my courses in ERC. I don't think you have to take an action on it. I don't think Brad needs you, wants you to even take action on it, just have me do it. So he's already given me all the files we have currently. And I want to say a thank you to Tim Barkey, just on the record here, because I had him stop out last Friday. He came out to the office and we went through a number of records, and in 5 minutes, he helped me clean out probably about 2 banker boxes of records. He's like, oh, you don't need this and we don't need that now, because I finished that. And he had some good ideas, and I did want to really appreciate and thank him for the work that he did. He's made this transition very smooth by what he did for the county. So kudos to him and his years of service here.
Good.
So, all right. Any questions for me?
I don't. Thank you, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Brad, Paul?
Sure.
Do we have homework?
Yeah, it's time to open the roof of this today. So, one thing, one more.
You got?
I believe it.
Oh,
Hey, if you give me one after it's filled out, I'll do that.
I'm not doing your job.
Brad will. Brad will.
sure.
If you give me a tabulation sheet after.
Yeah.
After you're.
Yeah.
Paul's trying to get.
So yeah, Paul handed out, we're opening the bids for the roof this morning. Our main garage and mechanics area roof, and also the roof over the office portion, are both in need of attention. So we're opening them today. And there are a few representatives from some of the different companies out here, so. And we would like to do, as we normally do, open them today, take them under advisement, so then we can come back next week. So the first one I have is from Advanced Roofing out of Bern, Indiana. Advanced.
Advance.
Yep, Advanced Roofing. And I have their non-collusion. So I've got two different ones here. Like I said, we're gonna take these under advisement. We'll go back, compare all this, and see. We have two different ones with Advanced Roofing. The first one is $105,755. $105,755. The other one is for $94,755. $94,755. The next one is from Jagger Construction out of Lima. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Jagger? Yes.
How's that spelled though?
Jagger.
Oh, two Gs, okay.
And I have their non-collusion. And their bid is $117,500. $117,500. And they have an alternate on there for $8,800.
So with Advanced Roofing with the two different bids, is that basically combined to serve as the one bid that we asked for total, or is that?
I don't think so. I think it's a couple different ways they bid it. Of what?
So we don't add them together,
No.
gotcha.
So the next one is from DA Quality Roofing out of Bern, Indiana. And I have their non-collusion. And their bid is $109,200. $109,200. And they also have an additional alternate of $7,378. $7,378.
Did you give them an option in the specs? Is that why we're getting alternate?
Yes, well, basically what happened is when the specs were done and we sent them out, we started finding out there were some other things possibly that could need to be done. And so we did send out an addendum on it, so everybody was aware.
Okay.
The next one is Ideal Roofing out of Monroe. I have their non-collusion.
Where'd you say DA was from?
They were from Bern, I believe.
Or-
Ideal Roofing out of Monroe, $119,750. $119,750. Awesome. The next one is from Cardinal Commercial Roofing out of Bern. And I have their non-collusion. And their bid is $89,730. $89,730. And the final one from JT Contracting out of New Haven, Indiana. And I have their non-collusion. And their project price is $181,987.35. $181,987.35. And that does, there are some alternates in here also, and I'd have to read it better to look at it. But I believe if I'm seeing it correctly, the total price includes the alternates, if I'm looking at that correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what yeah. So there were some alternates, so with that also. And that is it. I would just like to, I want to say thank you to everybody that's, has reached out for this, because we had a really good response.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice having all those
Sure is.
six companies
Yeah.
reach out to us for sure.
So I appreciate everybody taking their time and doing that.
thanks for the,
Yeah.
thanks for the bids, and make a motion to take those under advisement.
Okay, second? Thank you, guys.
Yep, and then next week we'll get it together and we'll send it out to everybody then, so.
Yeah, right.
Contracted deal.
Contract.
Yeah. So that's it for that, but we have some just other general info Paul can tell you while I'm handing these out.
I think you guys will be pleased to know that so far,
I'll take one for Steve, I'll just leave it here at his desk.
as of last week, we've done 142 lane miles of berming this year with the new dirt road. So, the weather stays like it is, we'll continue, but even if we can't continue due to the weather, overly excited about how much we were able to do this.
Well, probably until it freezes, huh?
Well, until it freezes or it gets too muddy to where we can't get in and get rid of the dirt, but I know Brad's been trying to keep you up to date on those numbers, and I just want to make sure, you guys approved us to purchase that, and I like to let you know that it was makes you feel a
Well,
little
and
better about spending that kind of money.
I came up from 124, I came up 200 east. Looks like you guys had hit both sides of that. Looks like you took quite a bit out. Dirt.
Well, we like to get it to where the water can get off the road to the ditch. Sometimes we're not able to get all the way to the bottom of the ditch, but if there's a good lip, we want to make sure that the water can get off of the roads, because that's what causes damage to the roads and hazard to travel. So, but yeah, we're extremely pleased with that.
Good.
So you, Brent. So the other thing, one other thing I'd like to add quick, and Nate kind of talked about a little bit too. Community crossings going forward for 2024, the state has raised it to $1.5 million. And I'm not sure if you gentlemen were aware of that, but they have raised community crossings, what they're going to award to $1.5 million, which is awesome. Especially if prices of everything going up, we all know that, and now just more opportunity to do bigger things. All right, on our monthly draw for the month of December, our MVH, $301,210.23. $301,210.23. Then on the other side, the local road to street, for the month of December, $48,990.32. $48,990.32.
Well, good. Hopefully that helps for the coming year especially. And I know your costs are coming up, but local road and streets is up over last year, obviously. And MVH is up quite a bit by last year. The amount we were able to direct your way from CEDAT was up by quite a bit last year. So hopefully,
Yes,
that'll allow us to complete some projects in the coming year.
help offset the rising costs that everybody
Yeah.
has. Yep.
So,
Yes, I agree.
yeah. So hopefully that way things end up in your favor a little bit as far as,
Right.
so.
And I better let you go ahead.
Make a motion to enter the record, report into the record.
Second,
Yeah, and to kind of, go along with that too, with the rising costs, that's true, because it'll allow us to continue to do, hopefully, what we've been able to do other years, maybe more.
yeah.
All right, so I actually have some permits today. I know it's been a little while, and we were getting a little concerned. I wasn't. So these are all for Fleming Excavating, and they are doing work for the regional sewer district. There was a little miscommunication somewhere along the line. They're already out there. But we went and drove everything. Paul went and looked at some of it yesterday, and we went and looked at the rest of it today. So the first one.
If we don't approve it, are you gonna go out and stop them?
Yep. Yeah, you guys don't approve it, they're getting stopped. We might take the sheriff or Mark with us, but we'd have a good time. So the first one is County Road 300 North between 300 East, between 550 North and 600 North. The next one is County Road 600 North, starting at 300 East, on 600 North, 2,300 feet west of 300 East.
And who are these permits for again?
They're for Fleming Excavating.
It's a sewer district project.
Sewer, right?
The next one is on County Road 700 North, between 200 and 300 East. The next one is County Road 300 East, starting at US Highway 224, and they're going 400 feet north on 300 East. And the final one is on 300 East from County Road 600 North to 224.
That's all part of the Clems Lake extension.
That whole area out there, yep.
You see any issues with any of these?
Pretty cut and dry.
Make a motion to approve all these permit
Okay, I'll
requests.
second that motion. But I did drive through Yost Woods again.
And that looks really
They,
nice.
they did a very clean job with all the driveways that I looked at.
Yep.
Just came out.
Yeah, next spring when they get in there and, finish all the dirt work and level it up, it'll look really nice. Yeah. And if you ever get a chance, and you guys are out and about, go check out 400 West, south of 218 in Lynn Grove. It all came out very nice.
Been the nicest cylinder I've ever been.
Probably is. So that's all we have, unless you guys have some questions or.
I don't know that I do.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You putting up with the new guy in the office so far?
Yeah, it's been kind of rough, but it's going all right.
Yeah, he is.
That's going well, we knew we'd work well together, so. Good. Thank you.
Very good. All right, Rick? How you doing? Good.
just have one thing today.
Okay.
I received, this is the warranty for the roof. I didn't know if I should sign this or not. Look at this real quick.
Okay.
Take one of your signatures.
Oh, boy.
Reading glasses.
Yeah.
Got magnifying glass for
Well,
that?
never left them at home.
Try that.
We need one of them overhead projectors.
Oh, those are strong.
You better try these. See if these are better.
Maybe his is better.
Hey, mine aren't.
My eyes are bad too.
I'd offer my trifocals. They don't even
This
look
is
for
bad.
me.
Try this. These aren't very
Me and Rick have bad eyes, I guess.
I got rid of mine.
No, that's better. Thank you. I know, we're all in the same boat. Gee whiz. Okay, yeah, it's just the manufacturer's warranty. They're not
I didn't know
gonna,
if I should sign a mark or one of the commissioners.
yeah, they've got it set up for commissioners.
Okay.
It looks like signature of owner printed.
What is
that
warranty on that?
It's on the Duralast roof, 20-year warranty. So my guess is just need a motion to sign, acknowledge the warranty, sign
Make a
it.
motion to, chairman sign the roof warning.
Probably one of those things, you gotta have it signed, and,
I got to.
yeah, so then they register it and see that it's in place, so.
Okay. Is that from the manufacturer or from the installer?
That's from the
Manufacturer. So you sign right there and then print the name down. Yeah, so you sign there and then we'll print your name.
Tony, you probably want to talk to
Yeah.
Yes, please. I need to attest that.
Yeah, let me see. Got a signature on here for contractor too.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
This is a warranty for.
and I'll make a copy of it and then you can send it to them, and if it looks like the contractor's got to sign it. When you get a fully executed one, just get a copy of it.
Yeah.
At least we'll have some here.
That's.
Yeah. Once they all sign it.
Are you gonna go ahead and have them get started on the air conditioner for the power room, or how do you?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
ordered.
Okay.
It's warm down there.
Yeah, I was down there. It looks like you got a fan in the door and stuff like that. So.
We'll get it.
Yeah. The day I left here,
Don't leave
I
without.
got with him.
Oh, I got a bunch of them at home.
No, I meant here.
Oh, yeah, but don't leave without them.
Okay.
We'll be able to find, let's get that signed.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Good.
All right. Ed, did you have anything for us?
Sign this real quick. Good morning.
Good
Morning, Ed.
Want you to know that taxes are still coming in, getting slower, but taxes are still coming in. Certificate sale, we talked about last week. Since last week, we had one person come in, they paid off all the back taxes on that house in Lynn Grove. So that's on the tax rolls again. That puts us down to 4 different parcels of bare land. Monmouth Road, the one in behind Farmers and Merchants Bank, which is a little wooded area. There is a parcel down in Byrne, and then that's about an acre by the railroad. It's an industrial park. And then there's a 16-foot swatch on Fifth Street here in Decatur. So it'll be quick and easy when we get to that, and that's at the end of January, which is the same day we have our financial planning committee. And I want to let you know that with the certificate sale and our tax sale, this view of parcels at the end of the year, it just shows that the system works. And the whole reason is to get any property that's out there back on the tax rolls, so somebody's paying taxes. There's different ways of doing it, but the system does work.
Yeah.
It works well, so.
That's all I have. Unless you have any questions. Thanks.
Well, it seems like it's well worth your time and effort to handle it that way.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Shelley, Jamie? Yeah,
Okay, if I bring Jamie up with me?
Sure.
I suppose. As long as she doesn't cause any trouble.
Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. So you scheduled me with regard to the amendment of the ARPA application that was filed with Julie Marie and I think council. I apologize, I wasn't here last week, so
Oh,
I assume that they had approved it, I guess, for the amendment. I don't,
yeah, I think they did. Council did approve.
They did.
okay.
I think we just need to finalize that approval.
Yeah, did you have any questions on how she amended or what?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think at this point, I'm assuming that you're going to continue to work kind of through what the process is. And as that process becomes more clear to you, you'll come back to us and say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and here's how we're going to get it all done, basically.
That made sense with the application, just it's under your realm in a sense, because I just thought if we're gonna remodel any rooms or anything, it's how you guys want to figure
Yeah.
that one out.
Yeah,
Moving the records and are using a moving company
Yeah.
or destruction. I figured you guys would like
Yeah.
to look into that as well. We would just want to focus on, in the clerk's office, just our office, as far as the records as we had been trying to present before. The reason I brought Jamie is because 2024, if you haven't heard that, it's going to be an election year.
If we haven't heard.
And so it's going to take a lot of my energies away from some things. And I don't want this one to be dropped,
Right.
this project. So I kind of having her be in charge of it a little bit. She will get with vendors if we need to, or how, of course, we both will be presenting if anything that we need. Here's what we're going to use or who we're going to use. And this is how much it's going to cost. Can we use the ARPA funds that we had set aside?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, we definitely broadened the scope on you as far as, taking it just from directing a scanning operation to the whole records retention, archiving, indexing, and also taking it just from your department to multiple departments. So that kind of satisfied, I think, our thoughts on getting the bigger picture thing. So, we'll kind of look to you guys for direction on what you think. But the only stipulation, obviously, with ARPA is, it has to be directed by the end of 2024 and used by the end of 2026. So understanding that this year may go as it goes with the focus in your office on elections, obviously, what doesn't happen this year, there is, albeit 3 years out, there is a time limit to use that money.
Right.
So, but hopefully, we get through this year well, and over the next couple of years, we kind of put a process together.
How would you like us to respond back to the vendors that we had, kind of interviewed? We had like four vendors, and they shoot us an email, hey, I heard,
Yeah.
how's it going? And
Well,
you wanna use us, or?
Do you think, would it be best as you look at departments, just like Ed's got a plan in the treasurer's office? He feels like he can do a lot of the scanning himself, so that's not gonna take, a lot of scanning dollars there. Tom has taken it upon himself to start scanning individually, so he's kind of used some of his recorder's perp fund plus some ARP dollars to do the recorder's office. So I suppose if we could kind of look at departments and say, what do you got? What's our needs? And kind of, look at, prioritize what needs to be scanned, I suppose. And
I'm certainly not an expert in that, but I know you've done extensive research on multiple companies, what they can do and how that looks to us as far as in-house scanning, sending stuff away, indexing with their software, indexing, with a bridge to using our software, Doc Record, and, there's just so many things that you've looked into, so that's kind of why I consider you the expert and Jamie the expert on how to go about this, so.
I just don't want us kind of be the liaison as far as all these departments and say, well, we're using so you should use so. You know what I mean, as far
right.
as that? I don't want us to be
It
the.
might be interesting, Shelley, if you were able to put together almost a department by department, big picture plan. The treasurer's department is going to use this particular piece of software. This is the resource they're going to use to get it done. This is or maybe it's already done. This is where the files will reside once it's done, and a little bit of just some basic 2 or 3 pieces of information department, so we can look at that and say, yeah, that looks like that there's some continuity there. There's some plan for using the same vendor, or no, we're not going to use the same vendor, but here's how those records are all going to get to Doc Record, just so that we can see a plan for each. Or maybe there's a department that says we don't need any support.
Yeah,
Okay?
we've kind of, I think, attached it to the amended application.
Okay.
Jamie went ahead and established a spreadsheet to keep track of anybody that responded to a mass email that she sent
Okay.
to all department heads.
Maybe I just need to look through that.
And a lot of them do not need either the physical storage or the scanning aspect of it. But some do, and they did very detailed as far as some of them, how much they would need as far as physical storage and the scanning aspect.
Well, and when it comes to physical storage too, there's always space in the annex that, we can kind of look at and say, okay, how best can we use this space in the annex where, if there's an office that moves out or an office that needs to move or whatever, well, is that appropriate for physical storage? And, so, we'll always be willing to work with whatever we can space-wise. But, yeah, as far as what companies you use to scan, like I say, you've done extensive research and extensive coordination with the IT department. So, I'd say between you guys and what works with our system, then.
As far as our office goes, Shelley, since we're heading into 24, ARPA revenues do not carry over. They don't roll over the next year. So any invoices that you get that are within this ARPA request, you guys won't be able to remotely enter those because only our office can enter ARPA funds. It's federal. But we can give you the numbers, and then we'll just enter it into WOW. You'll just have to put, if you would, on your claim that you send over, put clerk's ARPA request, and if you have the resolution number, which I do somewhere, the more you put on there, the more we'll know to attach it to that so that we can try to keep up with what's being spent and so forth.
I think Bree said that we prepare the claim, but it's going to be difficult to enter in the WOW, right?
We'll have to enter.
You'll have to do it.
Any ARPA stuff, we have to enter, Bree or myself. And, but anything that gets appropriated, council's already approved it, but we're still going to need an additional, and what we will have to tell council is we need additional appropriations in X amount for this clerk's ARPA request, or if Dan still has some on his, anything that's left on any ARPA stuff, we'll have to now get another additional appropriation because that's just the way it works with the federal monies. But that's how that process will work. But we kind of went over on a couple of the requests, and that's the responsibility of department heads to keep track of what they've spent. That's not my responsibility, because all we do is we pay the claims, and now, if they go over, we don't have a whole lot left in there that we can say, oh, well, we'll pay the addition out of ARPA. There's not going to be enough left, so if something goes over and there's nothing left, council will have to determine how they want to pay for it. I don't know how happy they would be. Anyway, I just wanted to go over with how that's going to look, because now you wouldn't have any claims before January anyway, because they just approved the last ones for December, so we'll be in the 24.
That'd be the 24th.
Have any questions, where we're at, just, always willing to help however we can.
Even if you spend some time without doing anything, without doing any scanning or any moving of records, just set, what are the priorities, the priorities as far as, what are the records that most need to be accessed? And do they need to be accessed electronically or in paper? What are the records that are most at risk for water or fire damage or mold damage? I suppose if I had to do it, that's what I would kind of prioritize, and set some parameters on what you've probably done that.
Yeah, after several meetings, especially with the commissioners, that we revamped how we would want to do things, especially when Steve suggested, well, we're going to find a facility that's closer here than in Bern. That changed things as far as kind of changing what we would have our first priority of scanning. So the first priority of scanning changes to what is most searched, basically.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so we would like to do that first. And then, of course, definitely move once you decide where we want to place our physical records that are over there to here.
It feels to me like you're going to go down two paths. One is kind of that digitizing path, and the other is the physical storage path. And one of the questions that I've got in my mind is, for the physical storage path, what kind of infrastructure are you going to need? Are you going to need racking? Are you going to need a different fire suppression system in there? Are you going to need lighting, or what? If just begin to think about, and you may not be able to do that until you know exactly the space you're working with, but you might be able to develop some here's what our ideal physical storage space would look like. It would consist of halon fire suppression, and it would be modular racking that we could move back and forth. Yeah, I don't know what all it might be, but
Would this, Steve, be under the building aspect of it? Because I would know.
I would think so, but I think that's something that somebody's going to have to research, because I don't know the answer, and Rick's not going to know the answer, but somebody's going to have to do some research. And then, we might be able to identify a space, even if it's not vacant right now. Say, okay, let's plan over the next year. Let's plan on putting it here. Then what do we do?
Yeah.
We may not be able to begin to let contracts and have work begin, but you could maybe refine the planning a little bit more if you knew exactly the space you were going to be moving into.
And that includes everyone.
I would think it
Well,
would,
it certainly
yes.
does, because,
Yes.
we've got the one room up in the northwest corner that the assessor has laid claim to and said, this is mine. The one room that the treasurer has laid claim to and said, this is mine. So it may take a little bit of delegation to say, you need to kind of go through this and see whether you need all that space or whether we can combine other records. in
We
this
have lots
space.
of seminars.
So.
Well,
Since
and
we're all boxes.
if we're going to build at an ideal long-term record storage area with appropriate fire suppression, appropriate humidity, climate control, we don't want to continue to allow records to be scattered throughout the building. If we can put them all in a better centralized record storage area in one room like this, I don't know what the size needs to be, but if we're going to pull out the sprinkler system and put in a halon system, for instance, we don't want to do that in this little area and this little area and this little area and this little area. We want to do that in one big area. So those are things that I think, as you kind of talk with the department heads, I think those are things that you can say, I think we're going to end up with a better, you may have, you may not need anything now, but I think we're going to end up with a better long-term record storage area when we get this thing done. And we probably need to think more about consolidating those instead of allowing them to be spread throughout the building.
At least get them out of the basement.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got to get them out of the basement and centrally located so you don't have to drive to Bern or wherever you're driving to now to get to them.
And that's the main thing I want to focus is for the clerk's office to be able to move into a physical space.
Right.
I just don't want to, as you said, us be the liaison for every department and try to push them into a spot. I don't want to be the bad guy in this
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we get paid.
Yes.
I guess I would hope that you would be willing to liaison with the departments on what their needs are.
And which we've done,
And then,
but that's as far as, I just don't
Okay.
want to
And
be
then,
the one
you know, we
responsible
can
saying, we're
talk-
going to use this vendor, you have to use the same.
yeah,
Or,
sure.
we're moving it here, you have to move your records.
Yeah.
I don't want to police that. I'm going to leave it up to
Right.
you guys to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
cool.
But yeah, at least if you can survey departments and kind of develop.
And
some-
I don't know what all kind of hardship that puts on the treasurer's office if we say, we realize you've got a back room here where you've got all your records stored, but it's sprinklered, it's not fire protected, it's got all these issues that are not going to survive in the event of a catastrophic event. Let's move those records to an area that we build out to survive the catastrophic event. How is that going to negatively impact your ease of access and all that kind of stuff? I don't understand what all that, and I would not want to say we're going to take that on, but it only makes sense to me if we're going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, for instance, in a room that is built just for record storage, that we will want to consolidate all the record storage in that room for the county. But maybe that doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I think you almost have to go up and look at all those rooms as to what all is in there, as to how much space you would need. A lot of ours isn't even auditor stuff in our storage room up there. And since we've gone pretty much paperless, we have a lot of empty shelves and things like that. So, I mean, you know, it just probably would require a physical observation on what all. I know you've been in ours up there, but I don't know if you've been in the other ones.
Is there a time that'd be convenient for you or Jamie to do a walkthrough with us?
I'm sorry, Steve.
Do a walkthrough, like say a walkthrough with Ed and Tony and Mary and just kind of look at the rooms.
With Rick, I've got a master key and Rick has a master key.
Okay,
to get
good.
it.
Good deal. Yeah, that'd be great. I like
If
that.
if it's coming from you in your direction, I think, we are definitely on board because we've been wanting to do something for a while now, so,
Yeah,
um,
and maybe if we can combine what's here or get rid of what's here to where we can pull those records out of the basement of the main building, pull your records up here into this building at least, and make it easier for everybody.
If we can get Barb to change the date of the solar eclipse, you can probably cancel the election and have more time to work.
Tony?
we'll get on that one.
I'm just saying, everybody's canceling stuff already.
April 8th.
So do we need an action from the commissioners to support that ARPA request? I would make a motion to approve the ARPA request from the clerk for $500,000 funds.
We already have a resolution on that. I'm just not remembering the number right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
We have,
So, thanks for looking into that, so.
Well, we've both, this has been a constant struggle, as you know, and stuff like that, so I appreciate you, at least we did, kind of fine-tuned it to a place that I think it benefits everyone and not just one office, so. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Well, and you're right, it will be a big year for your office, for sure, so.
So there's a lot of things I will not be able to interact, but I will appoint Jamie Hay.
Okay.
Can you look into if you want movers as
Sure.
an example
Yeah,
for just
absolutely.
moving stuff or whatever, and if you find a place that, oh, this will work or whatever.
Good.
Yeah,
All right.
okay,
Thank you.
Good deal.
yep, thank you. All right.
Resolution 2023-44.
Megan? You can't hide back in the corner all day.
Learning a lot. Good morning.
Good morning. There was an instance in the Old Testament where God stopped the sun and actually moved it backwards, so.
Out of the waters.
Part of the water too.
Now that was most working through that.
We can't take all the credit. Okay, the reason we are here today is this is the end of Megan and I's first partial year in EMA. And I wanted to put the director's report together for EMA, LEPC committees, commissioners, and council. So I had sent this to Bree earlier. I don't know if she sent it out to all of you or not. If you want me to read it, I'll be glad to read it. It's just a gathering of our thoughts on what we think about EMA, about our jobs, what our purpose is here. And then there's also a sheet showing all of the accomplishments, the trainings, the exercises that we've done in 23, and then what our plans are for 24.
Did you guys receive that? I think either me or Bree sent it. That way the highlights can do. We won't be here till 3.
It's been a busy year.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Or if they have questions.
exactly, yes. That's why I sent it early, so you guys could review it. And I didn't think you want to hear me talk that much.
Oh, we thought Megan was going to.
I can read.
Although she just came from the dentist, so
Oh, I've got
it
it.
might be a little.
Oh, just have Barton give us the highlights.
Yeah,
highlights would be great.
I do have a copy of it here, so
Yeah.
if you want to,
Just highlight it and I'll be
How
right
about
back.
I just go over that first page, and then if you guys would like to look at our accomplishments and our plans for 24.
Okay.
Okay, this report is provided to the Adams County Commissioners, Adams County Council, and Adams County LEPC EMA committees on the overview of the accomplishments of the Adams County Emergency Management Department in 2023. Adams County Emergency Management has continued on an ambitious path toward a higher level of professionalism and a greater commitment to maintaining the highest quality standard of living possible during the past year. Public safety is a vital government function. Our agency not only responds to a disaster once it has occurred, but we also spend a great deal of time and effort preparing for and mitigating such events before they make the headlines. Through coordinated prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery efforts, our agency stands ready for the task of ensuring public safety. It is the goal of the Emergency Management Agency to educate our officials, the public, and other agencies on emergency management. This report serves to further acquaint you with the roles our agency plays in emergency and non-emergency times. We can now move on with clear minds as we are prepared to meet the challenge of an emergency or disaster. Respectfully, Barb Lerman.
Thank you.
well, like I've always said, I've sat on your board for many years, and you're probably the board that is most in the shadows until something goes haywire, until we have a flood, or until we have a chemical spill, or until we have a tornado. You know, it's like, EMA, what do they do? You know? So, you know, I think you probably remain underappreciated for the preparation work that you do. And so when I see all the fire departments, police departments all gathered in one room, all the emergency agencies gathered in one room, including Red Cross and radio operators, and it's just a pretty strong group that's working together to handle all this.
And we feel the same way. We feel like we have a great working relationship with the hospital, fire, law enforcement, Red Cross. I mean, I feel like sometimes we are the hub because we're not afraid to draw all these people together in one room
Right.
and, you know, do a round table and talk things out. It's just get it out in the open and discuss what we need to do here.
Yeah.
So we're very thankful for where we're at with both of our jobs.
Well, and whether it's tabletop exercises, on hypothetical situations or actual, tabletop exercises after the Bungie event. You know, it's all important, so.
And just to give you a short briefing, we will have our next solar eclipse meeting on January the 9th in the afternoon at the EOC. And this will be a coming together of our 6 subcommittees. So we are not doing the entire county-wide groups anymore. We have the 6 subcommittees with anywhere between 4 and 6 people from various departments to concentrate on their area of expertise. And so that's going to be coming.
Just for you guys, I think this room was reserved on the 9th, 1 to 4. Somebody from the state's doing a cybersecurity update with Shelley. So it might be a conflict. I thought it was the day, what day is the council meeting? Is it the 8th or 9th?
8th.
And your meeting is,
We have 2 other meetings on a Tuesday, that Tuesday, the 9th. We have a morning meeting and an afternoon
But
meeting
you said your meeting was going to be in the EOC, right?
Our
Not
building.
Yeah, your building.
at the jail.
well, I didn't know if you guys wanted to attend
I got you.
both,
I got you.
so.
And we can always send minutes out. Megan has an entire list of people that don't come to every meeting, but they want to know what's going on.
The 9th is the Tuesday,
I
our
think
our
that's
meeting
when
day.
from 1 to 4, they had this set up. If you guys were gonna do
Okay.
that or
Okay.
over at the jail, they're gonna have theirs, so.
What time is your meeting on the 9th?
Well, we have a morning meeting
Okay.
that starts at 10, and that's a cross-border meeting.
Okay,
So we'll have people from India and Ohio EMAs there,
okay.
along with dispatch people and stuff like that. And then since several of us are in, it's called a cross-county meeting that we're having in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So we will have all the adjoining counties. So we have Grant, Huntington, Jay,
Wells County, Jay County,
Wells.
Mercer, Van Ork.
and they will all be joining us in that afternoon meeting too.
Not at 1 o'clock.
I think that's interesting, and it speaks well of you too, that Adams County is considered the hub for the planning for this event.
You know, and we owe this all to Ohio. I mean, if, you know how John used to go to the Indiana-Ohio cross-border meetings? So when he left, I mean, I had gone a couple times, but he usually went. So when he left, I started going, and Ohio was about a year ahead of us in preparing for this eclipse stuff. And it's just, I just got my eyes open. I knew nothing about it. So I started going there. And then the more research we did, the more we found out. So,
Well, and I saw recently that the schools have all canceled school for that day,
Yeah.
so.
Not only just to give props to Van Wert, but all the stakeholders in Adams County taking this seriously, because we've been kind of helping Huntington and Wells County with their stakeholders, trying to get them to realize that this is going to happen, whether or not we're going to have more people or no people.
Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday with a bank president, trying to think through from the banker perspective,
yes.
how that's going to impact financial institutions and what they need to be preparing for. So, it's going to impact a lot of different people and agencies, and his expectation was that the state would be expecting the financial institutions to almost have a plan that they've thought through how they're going to operate. If they're going to operate, are they going to be open? Is there a funds availability issue? What's ATMs and all the kind of stuff that bankers think about?
We got an email from Association of Indiana Counties, a survey,
Mhm.
and they sent it out to all the counties, whether or not, and the only question was, are you going to remain open during the solar eclipse? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I put not sure because I don't know.
And
What's
one
your
thing
guys'
that's
go?
happened with us with this is like, every question that comes up, it's like peeling an onion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another question after that, and then there's another question, and, well, do we think about that? What's gonna happen if this happens?
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do, is what if?
Yeah,
What if it happens? What if it doesn't happen? Are we gonna have a bunch of people mad at us?
yeah, what if it's cloudy that day?
Yeah, what if it's cloudy that day?
Yeah.
But we figure they'll at least keep driving, you know.
Thunderstorm or something.
Yeah, they won't stay here. They'll go to where they have the best visibility.
Yeah.
So,
What does the Farmer's Almanac say?
you know, I haven't looked at that. That's a good idea. I'll have to go to Walmart, check it out. But
Well,
do you guys have any questions for us, or do you see anything you want us to do differently?
I appreciate your work. As you know, I read through the plan, and fascinating might be a little bit of a strong word, but it was very interesting to read through all the things that you try to think through as an organization, help us plan for, things that I wouldn't have thought about that's in your plan. If this happens, here's how we respond. Here's all the planning that goes into that. And I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do. And I know from my own personal experience, planning for things that you hope never occur can be kind of, can feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Like, I hope this never happens, but we have to plan for it anyway. That's not an easy thing for us to ask people to do. We ask you to do it, and I appreciate that you do.
Thank you.
Well, and I think you always think towards whatever the event is, minimizing the damage from that event and shortening the recovery time.
That's exactly right. And two things that we're going to be really strong on next year, and they're on our 24 sheet. You know, we did not get some of the grants we wrote this year, and we found out one of the reasons why is because EMA has not been involved in a cybersecurity exercise in the county. So we are going to be working with IT and all of our LEPC EMA committees, and that's something we will accomplish.
They're doing something on the 9th in here, cybersecurity.
I'll also tell you that that's from the banker perspective in me. We train and plan and run exercises for cybersecurity issues at least annually, and have done that for years and years and years. So if there's anything that that the financial institution can do to help you think through that, I'm sure we'd be happy to help.
Well, Megan and I attended a webinar yesterday morning on cybersecurity, and Megan contacted one of was she a speaker or just?
Yeah, the speaker. I think it's the same one that Shelley's bringing in. It's the same company.
But she is willing to work with us and write us the cybersecurity tabletop exercise free.
Wow.
So that's what we like to do in EMA is we'd like to do things in sequences of 3. So the first year we'd like to have a tabletop exercise. The second year we'd like to make it a workshop or a seminar. And then the third year make it a full action cybersecurity event. Because we build on that all the way through.
I wonder if that includes like major power. What is that called, Mark, when they like set off an electrical bomb or whatever?
EMP,
EMP,
electromagnetic pulse.
yeah, and it destroys all the
I don't
communications.
want one of
You don't want one of those.
Or nobody can use cell phones or satellites or anything.
Yeah, read the book 1 second after.
Ooh,
There's a
Well-
new one just came out on Netflix.
I'm worried enough about the solar
Similar to
flares.
well, and that's why, we maintain a relationship with our shortwave radio.
Exactly. And they're going to be part of our they are part of our solar eclipse planning group for communications. Is Mark McIntosh is in charge of the RACI. So he's going to bring his group in, or we're going to go there and do a workshop and make sure, because a lot of his people are still working people every day. So if they're required to go to work, they can't help us over the eclipse time.
Yeah.
So those are just things we still are ironing out.
Well-
But one good thing for you guys is Megan and I both really like to work, and neither of us could sit still for very long. So if one of us doesn't have something to do, we think of something to do, and then it's like starts into a whole new issue.
All right, well, thanks for your work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank both of you, so.
Barb.
All right. Mark, did you have anything for us?
You were referring to a recap of what you did this year and in your plans for next year. You have,
I've got a couple things for highway that I'm working on.
is that the same thing you gave them or not?
Met with Mark
Probably.
Wynn.
No,
Shell.
I wanted to
last week
visit
about
the
the project.
commissioners
Tonight, so Mark's willing to help us with that, so that
and
there's
the
actually
committees before it
we're
went
gonna
out.
make to the science specifications that the architect drew up. It'll save a
And you're
little bit of
welcome
money,
to come
make
to
more
our
sense.
January
And
9th
so he's
in
working
the
on that.
afternoon at 1
So we'll
o'clock
let him
meeting.
know.
We're
Quite honestly,
gonna have all the
the
cross
main thing we gotta
utilities
focus on
there.
is getting our.
It should be a very
release.
good meeting.
And then once
Is that
that's
gonna be
done, then I think we can make some modifications that make sense.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll send you ring.
Well, we've got the drawing, so he can I mean, we can add to the specifications. So, I mean, he's a general contractor, and I can tell you, if you don't have. to have
Sure.
architectural
You want
drawings,
just,
state
yeah.
time release,
I gotta get your name.
Your general contractor, spec out your home, spec out your building, as long as it meets
If you
building.
Get a copy of
Yeah, and so
Okay.
he's done
And I'll
that.
just agree to this.
So that's helpful. And so, yeah, there's a few changes that we'd like to make. A couple changes like they had spec out for the concrete. Quite honestly,
Yeah,
ought to be a little
it
bit.
is spelled.
That ought to be 5. And
Yeah,
so, and over the entire scope of the project, it's probably about $2,000. But I think it's worth it, rather than having a
I don't think we need all these things.
so forth. The other addition we looked at too was floor drains.
But you're gonna get a copy of this,
Floor drains
That's what I asked.
Oh, we can, we'll get that.
Overhangs, didn't have overhangs, that was terrible. So
Let me
just
know if you need anything
minor
else.
stuff, but for the
Let
most
me know
part,
if you need anything else.
I think that
And
that Mark
Rick
can help
McCoy's
us
coming
get
to
the
that meeting that we're
specifications.
having.
Video,
And we're going to
and we
the
put it out
45.
good, so then,
I might.
contractors like Arnold give us a
Rick and I
bid,
got-
and give us a
They used
bid.
to have meetings
Get
all
the,
the time.
get the price. Yep. And I think, working in the county can actually act as the general contractor, and in doing so, that it's helpful to have Mark help us do that, because that's what he did.
Yeah.
And so then we can bid the project out in segments, concrete, excavation, concrete, framing, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and that'll, I think, help save on cost. It'll help us, there's a good chance we'll have local contractors, and overall, I think we'll have a better price rather than just saying putting it out as one big package, give us one number for everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what we're working on.
Man, I am so glad that you and Mark are helping.
Yep.
That's fantastic, I think.
So that's what we met on last week. Also, we've got an individual that's interested in purchasing a tract of ground that the county owns out on Winchester Road. It's a triangular piece of ground. It may make sense. I'll talk to you guys about that some more. So I've got all the statutes printed off that deal with sale of property. There's different thresholds and different procedures. It's actually an adjoining landowner. And so anyway, we'll look at that. May need to have appraisals for that. But we'll talk about that some more. And also want to talk to Brad and Paul about road access, because you've got that 24-acre tract of real estate right behind it. You've got access to that off of that cul-de-sac that goes back to the jail, but it might make sense to have another access up to the north, because we've got 80 foot of right-of-way through there that you own. Anyway, so I'll show it to you here after the meeting. We can talk about it a little bit, but that may be something that you might be interested in doing. So I can see, that ground eventually, developing and just,
You're talking about the ground out by the jail, right?
yeah.
Okay. And we've got Brett Miller's company working
On
on
the survey
a survey and almost a development plan for
Yep.
that whole acreage out
Yeah,
there.
I think that's good.
I'm hoping we get that in the next 30 to 45 days.
Nope. And Brett's been involved in all kinds of subdivision developments and
Yeah.
commercial developments. So
Yeah.
he's good at that. So
Good.
anyway, that's kind of what we're working on.
Man, are any closer to closing on that property at the Marathon? It's not working.
I gotta check with Clayton on that. I'm not sure. So I think it's in the city's court.
I don't know if they're gonna do anything with that tonight or not, if they're not house.
Well, we definitely need to have title before we go out to bids on putting up a building. That'll all fall in place. We'll have title to that. We'll do
We're
that.
too far down the road for that to fall apart on us, I would
Yep.
hope.
Good.
So,
You didn't make any motions on anything while I was down there talking.
I don't,
Sold more farm ground while you were gone.
You decided a whole bunch of things and
I just barely even moved, let alone make a motion.
I can actually go back and listen to the recording. So.
no, we just talked about, I met with Mark Wynn and Michelle about the design of the building for the transportation.
They're trying to figure out that cybersecurity thing we were talking about. There was a conflict with sewer district in here. I told them, well, worst comes to worst, yeah, you'll see out there that big training room.
Well, and I would think sewer district, well, I don't know. I was just down in room 124. It's not set up very well for meetings right now. It's really a
They have
training room.
computers at all the
Yeah,
kids, but
it's really a training room.
in an emergency, and you only had a few people, probably, if you don't need the computers, you can just talk, I suppose, but you can't really set it up.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Anyway,
That's it.
All right, thank you, Mark. Shannon, did you have anything for us?
Last week, we talked a little bit about the 2024 COBRA rates and fringe rates for the
Yeah.
other entities. So I just need those officially approved, please.
Okay.
You
what was
know,
it, HMI or H
the
something?
document I sent you guys.
Shannon would know if I did. That's not with it. Then again, it's good if it's printer either, but I don't know. There's there, Jim. There are a lot of hats there.
You sent this to us now. Once I open something up on my computer, if I don't read it, it's lost, gone. It's like, if I happen to open it up on my phone, it's like a document like this, like, no way can I see that, so.
Does that happen when you get old?
My vision is just going. I don't know what's going on.
Let you use my glasses,
Walk
watch
around
around too strong.
Guide dog on these days.
And Rick's was even stronger than mine, I think.
And this is the rates that use 2024 expected funding plus lasers.
Okay.
That's what we talked about.
Okay, unless you got any questions, I'll take a motion. to
Nope,
approve
make a
those
motion to
rates.
approve the Cobra. These would be both the Cobra and what did you call those other rates? The fringe rates
Fringe rates.
as the same rate. Okay,
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
It's USI,
All right, I'll second that.
You just sign up. Just put your names on that form. Thanks.
Anyone?
That's for 2024.
Yes.
All that.
So they know it's serious, do this and everything. Oh, 19, 23.
How do I put my thing up there on the screen? I think we'll have to get the share screen. Do you want to do it before the meeting's over or after? Because it will be recorded right now.
I'll try and make it as official as I can.
Yeah, those here, they say adjourn. When it's adjourned, I can stop the meeting and hit share screen. Yep. To be able to share it.
all right.
But I'd grab Shannon before she leaves, just in case I'm wrong.
All right.
You know how to do this?
After they adjourn, he might.
Yeah.
Okay. With that CMHC board, do we need to do an appointment, kind of like we do with other appointments, or do I just contact them and tell them?
I would just have Brooke, just your commissioners hereby appoint, you to the
Have her do a
CMHC
sheet.
board. Yeah.
Okay.
Let her know.
I think,
That's all they got to work.
with our other appointments, I don't know, did she send you a new?
I've not seen that yet, but that doesn't mean she didn't send it to me. So.
I may have to talk to Angie and see if she's got a new sheet like this and see, because I know Brooke said they work on it together, but Angie's always got the list.
She's got the list and Brooke does the forms.
Yeah. And that'll be updated in January after all the new appointments are made, because some of those go off.
Well, I was hoping it'd be updated right now so we could see who's up
Let me see your
this
list.
year, so.
And where you looking at exactly? Commissioner BDA, you got a whole page.
Who all we need to appoint at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, as far as committees, I don't know if we need to look at what
Yeah,
committees.
Angie and Brooke work on that together, like.
I might just talk to Angie and see if she's got it.
Of course, it was settled, we just got done, we just got pre-approval for settlement, and they're super busy. So if she's, I don't know how much she's been able to keep up with that, because settlement was a priority.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, anything from the general public? Okay. If not, accept a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make that motion.
Second.
all right, Mark.